All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we are here today on this lovely April 28th, 2 days until the Sunshine Kid events. We are very fortunate to have Kelly and Jeff Stafford from the Summerlin campus. If you guys could hit *6 on your phones, *6, that's bottom left, not the pound, but *6, and you'll unmute yourself. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, welcome. So let's get it started. We were just joking that you guys are an anomaly. Thank you, Murad, for helping me with that word. I think it was Murad. That you've been in real estate. You're a husband and wife team. You're still a team. And now you've been married for 40 years. So that deserves a standing round of applause. Just that alone. So welcome to the show. Tell us a little about yourself, how long you've been doing this, all that good stuff.
I've been doing it 29 years. We grew up here and we moved back in 95 and I started in 96.
Wow. Nice. And then you recruited your husband at some point in there, right?
So basically, I was in retail management. She started making enough money where I could not have to work every single Saturday and holidays, so that I could get out of that business, spend more time with our kids playing baseball and soccer, and spend 25 years of heaven.
I love it. I love it. Now, are you guys on different phones and kind of close to one another?
Yeah.
Okay. One of you should walk to the other side of the house or something, because we can hear just a little bit of an echo. It's not a big deal, but it would be better if you guys weren't right next. And look at this: married, husband and wife team, 40 years, and you still want to be right next to each other. This is good.
So we could do some nonverbal communication.
Oh boy. I have a joke about that, but I cannot tell it on now that we're being recorded. All right. So tell us about your progression. I know you guys, like you said, you're from here. You started off working together, but you guys have had some really good years and your business has grown. Tell us a little about that progression.
He's pointing at me, so.
That's why you wanted to be able to, I get it now.
Progression, huh? Well, I had some big goals, and I had good mentors to help push me into new levels, and that's when Jeff started, and we found that neither of us liked to take direction from the other one, so we are kind of individuals on a team. And then we started to travel, like to Italy and France and things like that, and needed a small team to cover for us. Jeff is good at working on vacation, but I want to forget about everything and just vacation. So we got a couple team members, and and now it's a little bit of mentorship for them, and then continuing to keep up with past clients and referrals.
Now, so you have the team, so you can travel and do your thing. I love it. And sounds like one of you is easier to go on vacation. My wife and I are the same way. People think I have a hard time turning off. Nope, do not turn off. No problemo. Right. So now, when it comes to the team and you guys individually, though, do you cover a certain part? Does he cover a certain part? Does one of you do the listings? Does one of you do the buyers? Do you separate it like that? Or you just basically run as individuals as a team?
We run as individuals.
Okay.
So we market our own properties. There are things that we do for the team. That's, everybody's responsible for handling their own business, and we help generate business. That's our primary function.
Gotcha. How many people do you guys have on your team right now?
5.
Okay.
We have a
Okay.
full-time police officer that you never see. And we have our daughter who isn't all in. She's done some transactions, but she still really wants to find a job in the field she wants to be in. And then we have Ashley, who has been our team for probably 10 years.
Mhm. Yep. I love it.
So
I love it. Now,
there's really three of us.
there's really three of you and two part-timers. No, but that's typical
Right.
of a team. So, like, and for them, like, if something has to be done during the week, they can pay you, one of you guys, a referral fee to deal with a listing or a sale for them. And that's very, very common to have that to just, contribute to the team, but not necessarily spend a lot of time themselves. So that's good, though.
Right.
How about you, Jeff? Anything you want to add to that?
No, I just think that it's kind of a symbiotic relationship with us where we cover for them and they cover for us, and Kelly does do a lot of mentoring and coaching.
Right. I love it. No, it's great. And you guys obviously, this would be a great question for the two of you because you guys are from here and then you came back. And what the real estate market in Vegas, you've seen some massive changes since you've been doing it, right? You probably remember when, this road only used to go there. And I remember when the 215 wasn't even there. And I mean, isn't it, Vegas is pretty amazing what's happened in the last, holy cow, 20 years here.
Absolutely.
Totally. When we didn't live here for 16 years, and every time we came back to see family and friends, like, what happened now? Where did this come from? Who would have thought they'd be building here? So yeah, it was just crazy. I remember my mom sold real estate here, and in the late 70s, we went four-wheeling out in the desert, and she said, they took us on a tour. This is going to be the Hughes track. Well, the Hughes track turned out to be Summerlin, but it was
Summerlin, right?
It was an all-day four-wheel drive trip to get there.
I know. I read about that. I live in Summerlin now, and I read about how it came along and where the name came from and all that stuff. It's kind of amazing that Vegas is one of those places. Like even the economists say that if the real estate market in the country slows, Vegas is one of those markets. Actually, Scottsdale, Phoenix is another one that should keep on going because of what we have for a draw right now as people coming here and why and the construction and everything that we have. Vegas is quite the spot. It's not just a strip anymore, is it?
No.
And it's, I think that the city, all three cities, North Las Vegas, and Henderson, have done a pretty good job diversifying where the economy comes from so that we don't get slammed if there's another pandemic or who knows, recession, who knows.
Very good point. We're not just a strip anymore with the incentives for businesses to move here. A lot of them have, like I live in Summerlin and I go to the strip like maybe twice a year, mostly to see Murad, who was on this call earlier, to go to his wonderful restaurant there that he works a couple of nights a week. I love that place. The food is unbelievable. But, and the service is incredible. But anything surprise you, like what in Vegas with the growth? Anything surprise you, stick out at you?
Surprises. One, how resilient the city is, I think. I mean, we were ground zero for the Great Recession, and they said it's going to be 25 years before we recover, and it was a long time, but 17 years later, we back to record prices and booming more than ever.
Yeah, that's such a great point. Even with some of the crazy stuff, and I know that you had some, even with some of the crazy stuff that's happened here, it's still incredibly well taken off. And this time, I don't know if you remember right before the crash last time, you could ask your best friend, how many houses do you own? Well, I own 7. I own 4. Today, most of the people here, they own their primary residence. most of the people here it's not second and third homes and all that crap anymore. It's actually people seeing the benefit of moving here and moving their families here.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a great place to grow up. It's a great place to live.
It is a great place. All right. Well, let me ask you my favorite question. And I'm going to have you guys do this individually. So hopefully, let's start with you, Kelly. In order to be a success in this business like you guys, what would be the top 3 things you tell them to focus
on? One is collect as many names and numbers and emails as you can. You know, in our move from Sahara over to Summerlin, I found a lot of phone numbers and contacts that had no area code, so that's how old they were.
No.
But once you collect all that, you need to have a system, and we've got a great one with our monthly newsletter, but you also have to call the clients and keep in touch. So number 1, get a database and keep in touch with them.
Love it.
Number 2, a mindset of, well, you have to have that why. And every time you achieve that why, you need to get another why. But also you've got to believe, why can't I do this? You know, because you get that, sometimes you get a mentality of like, oh, I can't do that. And then it's like, why not? So have that why and know you can achieve it. And I think the third thing would be learn how to ask for referrals throughout the transaction. That's one thing I never really got a hold of, and I'm sure I would have got more deals if I had proactively asked for referrals.
I love it. And I would say that you guys do an incredible job for people. So it should be relatively easy to ask for referrals because, you know, when you do a great job, it's easy to go, hey, by the way, who else do you know that I can help? Like I helped you, right?
Right. Exactly.
Isn't it funny, though? I've talked to a lot of top producers like yourself. It takes a while, I think, for some of us to get the idea that asking for referrals is okay, right? Yeah.
I mean, you kind of expect that, oh, they loved how I did a job. Of course they'll give me referrals. But if you don't ask, you know.
That's the trade-off right there. We all think, well, they know what I do. They'll call me.
Right.
It goes without saying. Not in real estate, it doesn't. I mean, any sales job, you got to ask. It's not their job to remember. You got to spark their memory.
Well, and right before the crash of 2006 and 7, everyone and their brother had a real estate license. So you think your client's loyal to you, but they know 8 other people. So who are they going to pick unless you're in there pestering them?
That's right. I love it. Great point. All right. Awesome, Kelly. Thank you. Jeff, how about you? What do you think? Top 3?
Top 3, 1, show up. Meaning show up at the office, get as much training as you can, listen to what other experienced agents are saying on the phone. Just be in that environment and do what you're told to do. Typically you see new agents and they're all hot and heavy for the first 2 weeks, and then it's like, oh, I got nothing to do. I'm going to go work from home. Oh, I'm going to go to the movies. They just kind of fade away. But the ones that show up and do what they're trained to do are the ones that are successful. And one person pops into my mind, John Williams, who is an awesome top producer. He didn't do a transaction for at least the first 6 months, and I listened to him on the phone every single day, refining his craft, and now he's one of the best people on the phone that I've ever heard. So show up.
That's great.
Don't give up. I've seen people, highly successful people, that like, how did you guys persist? Because you don't look good, you don't smell good, you don't act good, but now you're doing a ton of business. And they're persistent and relentless. And then the last thing is help as many people as you can like they're the last client you're ever going to have, whether it be a renter or a listing or a buyer. Treat them like gold, because over the course of a career, they could be worth 10, 15, 20 or more transactions to your business.
It's so true. It's almost like you can map out the genealogy of like the first couple of deals, and then then these people came from that deal, and then I got those people from, right? You can actually map it out if you really wanted to spend the time doing it.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I if I can't sleep at night, I'll say, okay, first person was Maurice, and then I got this, and then that, and 20 years later, I'm still getting business from Maurice.
Maurice, I love it. Isn't that great? Kelly, were you going to say something too?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say too, when you started speaking, Jeff, that showing up. When I go to Summerlin, I always see one of you there, if not both of you there, okay, in your office, smiling and waving through the window because you're on the phone usually, right? So, showing up, I think, is a huge part of it. I'm also going to piggyback on one thing Kelly said, which was the database. She mentioned the newsletters. We also have the VAC does the newsletters, or the Resource Center, and it also does the neighborhood reports and all those things for keeping in touch digitally with your clients. And I agree with both of you too. You got to talk to them. You got to be in front of them digitally. I would even add social media as part of the mix today for them to see you out there on social media as well. It's a whole mix of everything to remind them who you are and what you do, right?
Yes, and we didn't have any of that when I started. Back then it was a 3x5 note card, and you just kept filing them back and forth. Call them, write on there.
Did you have that little box too that you just opened up that had 1 through 31 in there?
Yep.
I had the large one. I had the accordion file with the remember the ones that came with the elastic attached to it? You just wrapped it around? Yeah.
Yep.
People think I'm joking. I used to, Kelly, you remember these days. I had all my leads in my 1 through 31 accordion file. I literally had a briefcase that looked like a sewing machine case. It was like hard plastic shell. It looked like it was bulletproof. And people used to make fun of me because I would carry that in the morning, open it up. I would never leave it. What if the office was robbed or it was on fire? I'd take it in my car. And then I thought, what if my car gets stolen? I would take it in my house at night. I mean, now you have it, you have a computer, and then you have a backup system, and then you have the cloud. Back then, we didn't even use computers at first, and everything was paper.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
People don't realize that. That was kind of crazy back then.
I was super excited when the fax machine became a thing.
Me too. I remember that. Yep.
You could
and remember you had to
your
copy
offer.
it? Yes,
yeah.
I know. Remember the fax? People are like, no way. You can fax an offer and it's binding? Yeah. And
you still had to run over and get real signatures.
Yeah. It was and then when they first came out, you had to take it off the curly paper, flatten it on the copy machine, because if you didn't copy it right away, the ink would disappear. Remember that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, crazy. What? And now people think I'm crazy when I say this. Like when I talk to my kids. Now, basically, you walk around with this computer. You can take pictures. You can basically run your company, right, from this little computer, otherwise known as your cell phone, that you carry around with you anywhere. It's absolutely nuts if you think about it.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Our phones are more powerful than the technology used to shoot Apollo to the moon.
No, it's nuts. And a lot more powerful than those first computers.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's amazing. And can you imagine? I always think, what about, like, if you think back 5 years, 5 years is like a lifetime ago when it comes to technology. I can only imagine what's going to happen in real estate in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
I believe Like I'm wearing earbuds right now. I think they're the best earbuds ever. The AirPods, the ones that have the pros, the ones that last all day.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you that in 5 years, I'll be thinking something and it'll be going as a text into my phone, right? That's next.
I'm pretty sure that already happens. I think of something and all of a sudden I get an ad on my phone.
Isn't that weird? It's crazy. Crazy. All right. Anything, let's think. Anything? So you guys gave your 3 points each. We've covered a lot of good stuff today. Is anything else you want to mention about the real estate business that you think these people should know?
Attitude is everything. It's a simple
so
business, but it's not easy.
That's a great point. It's simple, meaning the things you need to do on a daily basis, but it's not easy because, think about this. It's one of the easiest businesses to get into versus the upside, right, as far as education.
Right.
But it's a really tough business statistically to stay in and be profitable, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, think about what you have to do on a daily basis. Most people just aren't willing to do it. You got to talk to people. You got to fill a pipeline. You got to make sure that you're connected with them in several different ways. It's work. People don't think real estate's work. It's work.
I'm going to get my license for $300, and I'm going to make a boatload of money by showing houses.
That's right.
That's what they think.
You've been watching non-reality shows. That's what I call them. Yeah, it's unbelievable if you think about what's involved. But like you said, we're fortunate because we have a great brand. We have the Berkshire Hathaway brand. We have all the tools that go along with it. And no matter what happens in the market, we're going to be here. And especially somebody who's been through, the Great Recession of 2006, 7, and 8. We even say 9, 10, 11. It probably started. That was a long time, but now. Since then, this market has been doing pretty damn good, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, nonstop.
Good. So
even when we thought it wasn't going to do good during the pandemic, it did better than ever.
It's so true. I thought the same thing. And then April of what was that, 2021, till I would say almost the end of 2022, that was the greatest 18 months in the history of real estate.
Yeah, I agree.
From an appreciation, inventory, and all that standpoint. All right, cool. Any final words, Jeff? How about you? Anything you want to add?
No, just new agents need to keep in mind that our job is to solve problems, not create them. So
good point.
We're conduits to people's home ownership and the biggest source of their personal wealth. So take that seriously.
So true. It's I remember when I started in the business, you used to hear this phrase a lot more. It's the American dream. And you don't hear it as much anymore, but it really is from an investment, tax standpoint, retirement standpoint. Real estate ownership is probably the best way. And it's got to start with your primary residence. What I always think of, you guys have been here a while too, all these rental subdivisions that are going in and just on St. Rose, okay, corner of St. Rose and Seven Hills here, where I am. Look across the street. Since I've been here 11 years, they're just doing the third massive rental, and they all have at least 500 to 700 units in them or more, right? And they're all full as soon as they're done. We have a warehouse of people that could buy if they decide to. And I'm just wondering what the rates have to come down to make this market go into hyperspace, because it's going to. It's quick, it's good, it's consistent right now, but we're going to go through one of those crazes again. And I don't know, what is that rate? 5.75? We're at 7 right now. I think a 1 to 1.25 point difference, this market's going to go crazy, and it's going to happen probably within the next, 6 to 18 months is probably the range, but I would say probably more like 6 to 8 months when everything gets in gear and the base rate starts coming down again. It's going to go crazy.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, you two. Well, listen, hey, happy anniversary, 40 years.
Thank you.
okay, together. That's the most important one. And then you guys are a successful husband and wife team, which is awesome to see in real estate too. So I'm just going to say thank you very much for taking your time out today, to both of you. Have a wonderful, I want to see you thrive in 2025, and I know you will.
Yes.
Nice.
Keep it rolling, guys.
Thanks, Rick. All right. Take care.
Thanks, Rick.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. We'll see you soon. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are here live. Okay, another Facebook Live on this lovely Wednesday, the 23rd of April. Today, we are very fortunate from the lovely state of Arizona to have Jodi Faulkner. Jodi, welcome to the show. The studio audience goes crazy. Well, thanks for taking your time out. I know your husband's away, so he can't be here, but we'll have the the one who's been doing it the longest, Jodi Faulkner. So, Jodi, tell us about yourself, how long you've been doing this, all that good stuff, please.
Wonderful. Well, so I've been in the industry for a little over 18 years now. That seems to have flown by. I started my real estate practice in Chicago. I did business there for about 7 years. We got relocated to Iowa for a couple years for my husband, who worked for John Deere for most of his career up until now, which we'll talk about coming up. And then in 2015, we moved to Phoenix area. And so I have been doing business here in Phoenix for 10 years.
Wow, that is awesome. And you've been doing, selling real estate, doing incredibly well. I'm going to throw a new question here. When you got into the business, versus what you thought it was and versus what it really is, what surprised you the most? Like when you go, oh my God, this is so awesome. What did you like most about it?
Well, there's tons of things that I love about it. I mean, obviously, so came from the corporate world. I had a marketing background. I had went and got my master's in business. I envisioned myself going the corporate path for a long time until I bought my first condo. And that's kind of what got me even interested in love with the process. So when I got into the industry, I knew I loved looking at houses. I knew that process all seemed very fun. I think some of the things that I enjoy the most and always did is the ability to work with clients and that change up all the time. So in the corporate world, it would be that, we had our teams and we worked with maybe the same people all the time over and over again. And something that I absolutely love about real estate is that we get to constantly meet new people, learn new things about what works for people. And I love that. I'm a people person. I love to get to know people. So it presents a lot of new challenges because you never necessarily figure everyone out. Like you definitely can't group people into one size fits all, but that's fun to me. It's fun to be able to meet new people, have this business constantly change not only itself, but the people that we work with to make our business fun.
That is awesome. What a great answer too. And you know what? Just saying that shows your confidence level, because not everybody likes to meet new people. People don't like change mostly. So when you're already into I like meeting new people and constantly filling my pipeline, that explains a lot. So tell them a little about, I know your husband, like you just said, he had to send in his John Deere letter we joke about. Dear John, when he left John Deere.
Hey, nothing bad to say about John Deere. They were a fantastic company for him, but it's So I guess I'll give you a little bit of the evolution. So I've done real estate for 18 years. When I was in Chicago, I was always a solo agent in Chicago. So I think at that time in my career, when I was learning everything, and I definitely felt like I had to be in control of all of the details for it to go right. And so over time, I have learned that it's great to be able to lift other people up and have them do things that they excel at. And maybe they're not always the things that I'm not great at everything. I'm very clear on that. And so I've definitely opened up to the idea of, I love working with people. So that kind of has naturally evolved to that we formed a team. So in 2022, we created the AZ 24/7 real estate team. That was actually completely organic. I did not set out to have a team. I had some friends, I had some past clients that expressed an interest in real estate, and I knew that they would be fantastic at it. And so we bonded together, and we're kind of a team. So there's 5 of us total. It's 4 ladies, and now with the wonderful addition of my husband. So yes, he recently has joined us. 20 plus some years in the corporate world was always a wonderful thing for him, but we've been married for going on 17 years, and he has watched me in real estate that entire time. So he has had to live it, sleep it, every dinner, everything he hears and listens to real estate. And the fun thing is that he has actually always been equally as passionate about real estate. So it's one thing that he has thoroughly enjoyed. And we always joke, we've moved 8 times, in every time Jason, my husband, has actually found the house that we choose to live in. And that's I've done real estate 18 years, and he is the one who has always found it because he's always been somewhat obsessed with it. So it's been a lot of fun after all this time of him, kind of supporting and watching from the sidelines, that this year he decided was the year, and he's joined me at the start of the year. So now 5, and we have some diversity in the group because people have joked that we're 4 females that are all of a similar age. So we got a guy in the group.
We got a guy, and you got a hell of a guy too, because he's my kind of guy. Because he comes out of the corporate world, he gets into real estate, and what does he do? He's out door knocking your gigantic farm every day, enjoying it. That's my kind of dude.
He does. Jason, absolutely. He carries the discipline and the professionalism from the corporate world without a doubt. And he wakes up in the morning and knows he wants to get stuff done. He wants to be productive with his time. And that's been so helpful for me because I have always loved real estate. I'm passionate about it. I love what I do. But I acknowledge one part that has not always been consistent is that certain aspects of it, running it truly more like a business, in knowing that I have to block out times to accomplish certain goals. It's been a little bit looser with my schedule up until now. Jason has joined, and now we're a lot more focused because this is our thing together. We both have real estate, and we got to make it work.
So you have the knowledge, the experience, and now you brought in an engine. You just put a new engine in.
That's right. That's right.
I love it.
We've got the engine.
Tell them about all the great stuff you have going on. Tell them about your show. Tell them about what you guys are doing. Your year is starting off incredibly well. Tell them all about that, please.
Yeah, so kind of fun. At the start of the year, I was approached by The American Dream, is a TV show that has been around for a good 10 years. So it's not a new thing. But they have worked with top agents throughout the country. And basically what they do, they're looking for agents that have a lot of experience. They're not looking for the latest YouTube sensation or somebody who's just kind of playing around with it. They want agents who are already truly ingrained into their communities and that are very knowledgeable about real estate, community, lifestyle. So they approached me to be a host, and I'm covering the North Phoenix Valley. It's been an awesome thing for me because what this show is all about, it's about promoting community, lifestyle, and yes, real estate, but most of it, it's like an 80-20 mix, they like to say. You focus mainly on community in the lifestyle that people are living, and then you tie in the real estate end of it. So this is perfect for me because clearly, I already love real estate. I've done this for 18 years, but I also know how important the community that we live in matters to how much we love our homes and how much of a right fit that is. I can think of examples of like where clients have given me their list. These are the things that I want in a home: bedrooms, bathrooms, finishes, those type things. And if we can find all that, and if we put it in the wrong community, if they don't feel connected and that they're in the right place and community, it's not the right fit. It's not always the right fit. It's got to be all of those things together. And so this American Dream TV show has really been a great fit for me because I love the chance to promote the community, the lifestyle, and then what ties that together about this is what makes the real estate special in these communities.
I love it. And you can hear the passion, the dedication, and so forth in your voice too. It's really obvious that you love living in Arizona. You love You do. Tell us a little about that.
Yeah. So actually, when we got moved to, so it was through John Deere that we got moved out to Phoenix in the first place back in 2015. And it was supposed to be a short term stay. It was supposed to be, my husband was part of a management rotation program. And I think we were supposed to be out here for 18 months. And when we got out here, I kid you not, it was about a matter of a week when I was just like, we're not leaving. Like the Phoenix feels like home to me. It did from the minute that we got out here. I think a huge part of that is just that we do kind of on that point about lifestyle and community. We both, we don't have children, and my husband and I absolutely love to travel. We love to do anything outdoors. So hiking, biking, swimming, all of those things, those are completely the things that we love. In the north side of Phoenix was like, we have it all. We can travel on weekends where we can go and visit these amazing places just on quick weekend trips. We can explore endlessly, and we get to do all the things that we love. So yeah, Phoenix was supposed to be a short-term stay. I clearly love being here because we very quickly decided that this was home.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You know, isn't that great when you have that feeling? You just you know when you get there. It was kind of weird with me about Vegas. When I moved here, I before I got here, I was like, yeah, I'll be there for a year, and then I moved here, and I was like, I think it's an absolute fabulous place to be. I think part of it is the desert life, which the weather is good most of the time, right?
Yeah. We learn to jump in our pool 5 times a day in the summer, and we also learn to sneak away sometimes in the summer, get into a little bit cooler climate. Flagstaff is 2 hours north of us. We're on the north end of the valley. So yeah, we have options, and we feel very good about living in Arizona. It's a beautiful place.
Flagstaff, you can do everything from mountain biking to climbing to even skiing. I mean, the ski area is still open.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you have Sedona too.
Yeah. Exactly.
The positive
That's
energy
where my
vortex
husband
of
is
the universe.
today. He's in Sedona mountain biking for a late birthday trip. So yes,
Right.
we've got those amazing options to be able to take advantage.
What a great place to do it.
Yep.
All right, so awesome. So we know a little about you now, your show, what you're doing, how you got here, all that good stuff. Now give them, okay, so I'm an agent. I'd like to take my business to the next level. What would be the 3 top things that you would tell them to focus on to really give it your all and be a success in this business?
Okay. Well, one I'm going to say is something that we didn't really touch on yet. That I said that in the beginning, I was really big on holding on to all the details and feeling like I needed to do everything to be successful. So the start of this year, I finally committed to getting a transaction coordinator, and the lovely Wendy Weiss out of the Kierland office has made my life so much easier. Thank you, Wendy. It's just letting go of some of those details that I am really not providing my best value to. And so Wendy has made my life so much easier with being able to manage it. And the thing people told me from so long ago that I never really completely embraced was that when you can let go of those details, you can focus on the growth. And that's what we really now have been able to do, because I used to fill my days with thinking I'm busy. I was always busy, but it wasn't with work that was always productive work. It was, I got to call this person, make sure every detail is taken care of. And now I get to know that stuff is being taken care of, and I can just go out there and focusing on my clients and where I truly add value. So big lesson that took a long time for me to really embrace, but we got there. So the other thing is have fun. I mean, literally, I came out of the corporate world and came into real estate, and I feel like every day is truly, I don't mean to be cliche with it, but it's a gift. I get to choose what I focus on every single day. I get to choose the clients that I work with. It's not all rainbows and butterflies. We know in this industry, there's a lot of big challenges that we come up with, but at the end of the day, I control my destiny, and I love that. So have fun. And if you're if you love what you do, you're passionate about it, you're enthusiastic about it, that is contagious. People want to be around that. And just simply by doing things that I love and telling people about that, it's a natural way to gain friends, clients, and continue to grow the business. So have fun. And then I would say probably keep learning, like literally learn it and be willing to pivot at a time. So in 18 years, I've seen a lot go on in this industry. I mean, I've been through a huge market crash. I've been through different time periods when the market was super hot and we were receiving 20 offers on every property we listed. you have to go with the flow. You have to learn new things. Something that I actually have truly embraced recently is that I've always liked to learn new things, but now when challenges come up in deals, 18 years, long time to do real estate, but I truly feel like I learn something new. If I don't do it every day, every week, there is something new that I'm learning. And I feel like when I used to get those emails of like, oh, this deal, something's happening with this deal, it's really upsetting, everybody's worked up about it. It used to be a downer. It used to be like, oh man, we got to get through this. And I really have changed my mindset on it. And it's like, hey, this is a new challenge that I haven't worked through before. I'm going to pick up the phone. I'm going to call somebody. I'm going to learn something new so that I can use that for my next deal. And honestly, it's kind of changed the whole dynamic of like seeing challenges as opportunities to learn something new. And I've had a lot of fun with that.
That's so true too. It's like the old saying, calm waters never made a good sailor or something like that. You have to have a little challenge. Plus, it makes it more interesting. Plus, if you have the confidence to get through it, like you said, all you're doing is learning, so you become even more experienced for your next transactions by having. And let's face it, it's real estate. Almost all of them are slightly different, right?
100%. I'm trying to train in Jason, my husband, who's learning right now, and another member of the team, Becky, is doing phenomenal. She's learning too. And it's funny because I look at it and I'm like, every week that we're talking about different things, I am truly learning new things and teaching them too. And it's like you do every time you run into a new scenario with real estate. And that's fun. You should enjoy that about our business. Like sometimes it can be stressful, but at the same time, it's cool to be able to do something for that long and know that you're always going to run into something that you probably haven't experienced before.
Absolutely. And you got a little outside your comfort zone by joining coaching this year. You've been in for a few months now, right? So that's been great. I've really enjoyed working with you, and I think we're going to really crank it this year too. But you have to have what you're describing coming out of the corporate world, and your husband, and you have to have an entrepreneurial spirit. This is a business that you get paid what you're worth. The most important vote is yours. I would say the only vote that matters is yours, and who you surround yourself with is very helpful too. But you have to understand that it's very rewarding to do it. Have your own business. You're a business within the business, right? And get results. Everything happens because of you, or nothing will happen if you don't do anything. So it's also a big, responsibility, but it's also very rewarding, isn't it?
It is. It really is. And fun that we get to pick like the teams, like you said, that are around us, have like amazing team within our group, but then our extended partners too. It's fun that we even get to choose who it is that we partner with on a regular basis. So opportunity to give a little shout out here to Felicia Burke with the Agave title, because we just had an amazing event last weekend, and I just want to specifically say thank you, because Felicia is unbelievable. Took her Friday, totally helped us out with the event, traveled for the weekend, and gave up a Friday night to be with us. So appreciate our partners too that help us grow.
Yeah, Felicia is great, and don't they have the best name in real estate? Agave
title. Perfect
Agave
desert.
And we might as well throw one out for Prosperity too. Prosperity, woo!
Prosperity. Nick also gave us he helped sponsor it as well. So absolutely, Prosperity's been a great partnership too.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's nice to have. I remember years ago when I started, back in 1985. By 1990, I was doing pretty well, and I had to develop these relationships on my own. It just made sense to me to use one person for loan, one person for title, which I did. Okay. And then now it turned all into these business relationships. You need contracts because of RESPA. And so it's really evolved into something that's really unbelievable, isn't it?
Yep, it really is. Have an amazing team. It's awesome.
All right. I also like to ask this, Jodi. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you'd like to say to these wonderful people out here in Facebook land?
Anything that we haven't talked about no, I think we covered everything from my end that I think is important. Like I said, my biggest thing is just that you really should enjoy what you're doing every day. When you have the opportunity to be able to control your destiny in real estate and pick the things that you love to do, pick right. Do things that you like doing and expand on them. It's like, if you know you have things that you're passionate about, find a way to incorporate those into the business and have fun with it.
Yeah, and that to me, that says a lot about the person. Like, I want to do something. And I remember sitting in college and saying to myself, you go to work for someone else. If someone likes you, you get promoted, things are great. If they don't or
Yep.
whatever, then you don't. When you're in real estate, you show up every day and work hard. You have different clients and things going on all the time.
Yep.
Okay, you can produce it by yourself, but it requires a certain amount of, entrepreneurial spirit, confidence, ability to learn, all the things that you mentioned are all
Yep.
important. Well, Jodi, I just want to say thank you very much for taking your time out today. This was completely wonderful. I'm sure people got a lot of good nuggets out of it. And once again, thank you for taking your time.
Yep. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you. Bye, everybody. Bye, Jodi. Thank you.
Bye.
See you.
All right, everybody. Happy Cinco de Mayo. Happy Cinco de Mayo. All right. So some people that mean something, other people don't. Other people, it's just another day to call a drinking day. Not me, but I've heard of people who do that. All right. So today I want to handle something. I have a little talk I'm going to be doing called the Closing Lab. The Closing Lab is, some of you know, I just did something called Is Your Net Working? Which is really all about networking everything together. The Closing Lab is about, making more appointments, getting more of the ones you go on, getting your listing sold faster, getting buyers to sign a buyer broker agreement with you. These are all things that the Closing Lab is about. So you guys are going to hear it first today before I go out. The first time I'm doing it is a couple weeks in California. I'll be doing it. And then, I'll be doing it in Arizona after that, I think in June. All right. So it's all about, to me, it's all about, look, anytime that you have to be prospecting, anytime you're not on an appointment, you're not negotiating a deal, you're not following up on your leads, and you have time to prospect, it should always be for sellers. Always be for sellers. You remember that, because when you have sellers, you will always have buyers. Some people get that confused with a prospect for buyers. I wouldn't do that. Okay. I mean, look, can you have a buyer seminar every now and then? Sure. All right. Should you work with buyers? Of course. But when you have time to prospect, work with sellers. So here's my number one point. Just number one. These are all number ones. They're all important. Okay. Master market knowledge. Okay. So that should be a given, folks. You should know your market. You should know your market numbers. You should tour properties around your listings, especially when you're going on a listing appointment. You should know the inventory inside and out. All right. You should also know your stats. This is a tough one for a lot of people. I talk about this all the time, but very few people do it. The best way to explain your commission is by comparing yourself to other people or the market averages. All right. So like when I went on listing appointments, if I was up against somebody, I would say, yeah, well, here's the thing. My average days on market was 31. The market is 70. Right. So I'm, 2.5 times better than the average in the market. My average list to sell price was 98.6. The market's about 95. Right. So I had all these numbers. Or if I was up against somebody, I could even quote them. All right. If you're in California and Arizona, you can do that yourself. If you're in Nevada, you got to ask your broker. I don't know why the MLS is set up like that. It just is. Right. So know your numbers. Hey, Rick, why should I pay you 1% more than the other person that was over here? That's a great question. Here's why. And I went through the numbers. Right. I personally, after my first 3 or 4 years in the real estate business, never had an expired, had a couple withdrawals, right, but not expired. I would never let a property expire. That was my claim to fame. All right. I would sell it, or if the seller wasn't willing to do what it takes, I would withdraw it. I would not have an expired listing. Okay. So know your numbers. I think days on market, average list to sale price. Do you have any expireds or withdrawals? Those types of things I think are important, and know your competitors. Easiest way to handle the commission objection, easiest way to handle the terms, like how long you want, all of that stuff is by knowing your numbers. Okay, the next point I have is anybody can jump in and ask questions. All you have to do is hit *6 on your phone to unmute yourself. And then once you've unmuted yourself, make sure that you remute yourself on your own phone after that, because once you unmute yourself, you're live. So you got to make sure that you mute your phone after, because we'll hear everything you're doing, like if you're driving or. All right, so any questions, jump in anytime. All you have to do is hit *6. So the first point was know your numbers, and that's market knowledge, and part of that is knowing your numbers. Number 2 on my list is perfect your communication skills. As you guys know, I always say know the communication pattern. When you're in sales, the communication pattern is I talk in open-ended questions. What, when, who, where, why. All right. No matter what you say, I respond. I usually say something, oh, you're not moving. You know what? Why would you? This is such a great neighborhood. I'm curious, how long have you lived here? Right, so you always ask an open-ended question, finish your sentence on a downswing, not go up at the end, go down, right? How about you folks? When do you plan on moving? How long have you lived there? Where'd you folks move from? Not where'd you folks move from? How'd you happen to pick this area? People talk like that and they don't even know they're doing it. That's why it's important to role play too. So know the communication pattern, open-ended questions, finish your sentence on a downswing, whatever they say, repeat and approve, and then ask your next question. By the way, if you look at the book of everything, it's right on there. It's called RAM, repeat, approve, and move. Okay? Here's another point. When they actually answer your questions, listen, don't interrupt them. Let them elaborate. You can actually dig deep on the answers they just gave you. Then get back to the script. Be human. The script is just a roadmap, folks. You can deviate. You can go off for a long time, then get back on. You can bounce around the questions when you get good. You don't have to follow. The whole idea is to follow the pattern. Okay? And then the last point I have about communication skills is, remember, it's all about them. Your fiduciary responsibility requires that, by the way. So I would just recommend, people can tell when you're all about them. People can tell when you're all about you. They want to work with you when you're all about them. Okay? I mean, think about it. Wouldn't you? Could you imagine you go into a doctor and he starts telling you about his problems? They never do that. Same with lawyers. It's called professional etiquette. In real estate, well, let me tell you about the first home I bought. Nobody cares. Don't take it for. Now, if they ask me, I will bring me into the equation, but I never bring me into the equation unless they ask me. And if they do, I always keep it brief. They have to feel the love, baby. Okay, so always make it about them. And that's the second one, perfect your communication skills. Develop strong negotiation skills. The number one way to have negotiation skills is by working with motivated people. People think, I have bad negotiation skills. I couldn't get these people to see the light. I'm like, well, tell me about them. Well, they don't have to sell. That's your problem. How can you negotiate with the non-negotiable? Now, the reason why we deal with people who have less motivation is because we're not prospecting. There it was. 10 minutes in, I've said the P word, prospecting. Right? If you want to control your business and your life, you will make your contact goal your number one priority. It's just that simple, folks. You want to be in control, keep your pipeline full, and make it about listings. It's not complicated. We complicate it. I didn't say it was easy, but we try to complicate it. We try to make it different. Unfortunately, you can't. If you got some of you remember Mark Stark, I worked with Mark Stark closely, and one of my favorite lines Mark would say is, don't argue with the truth. Although we try. Well, it shouldn't be that way. Okay, there shouldn't be world hunger, but there is. We're not going to solve everything, on a Monday morning, especially when it's Cinco de Mayo. All right. So develop strong negotiation skills by, working with motivated people. Once again, knowing your numbers. One of the things I would talk about today is like negotiating the price on a listing. I would tell the seller, you have a tremendous opportunity right now. The opportunity is that you can use everybody currently on the market who doesn't understand the market we're in to help sell your home. All right. People buy homes. They get emotionally attached to a home for two reasons. One, what the house has to offer, that's features, benefits, square footage, location, backyard, all of that, versus the price. They look at it. People are educated today, folks. Our buyers have never been more educated, and sellers, about price. All right? So they look at it. They decide to get emotionally turned on or not based on those two things. Now, if they're looking at other ones and then yours sticks out, oh my God, look at this. Because versus the price, then they allow themselves to get emotionally turned on by that house. Then they have to see it immediately. Then when they find out it's been shown that many times and that there's other offers coming in, so you can still be in a multiple offer situation today. Okay? Also, when negotiating, stay calm and professional. Never sound like you're trying to talk somebody into something. You don't need, once again, when you're dealing with motivated people, you don't need to do that. All right, and then find the win-win. Okay, like what I would use today, if they've been in their home more than 5, especially if they've been in their home like 10 years in Las Vegas, in any of our markets, Las Vegas, Arizona, their house has doubled in value. Okay, that's a pretty good investment. And they paid their mortgage down, and so what they owe versus what it's worth, there's some decent equity in that house. All right, when you try to get too greedy, sometimes you get nothing. If you look at the benefit you already had, and I point that out, you've been in this house for 5 years. What did you pay for it? How much is it appreciated? Right? I mean, I would definitely handle that. Well, look at the other people, what they're asking. Asking isn't selling. Asking is asking. Okay, so develop strong negotiation skills. Number one way is deal with motivated people, know your numbers, stay calm and professional, and find the win-win. All right, create a sense of urgency when necessary. And I would say only when necessary. Okay, so what's an example of that? All right, know their motivation is my answer. All right, you're moving to Walla Walla, Washington. You have a job starting in 60 days. We have an offer. These people are solid. They're going to close quickly. Okay. And let's say the seller's going to throw it away for $1,500 in repairs. Do you really want to throw this away and emotionally turn them off? Once they're turned off, they won't come back for $1,500, or do you want to put everything together? So that's what I'm talking about when you create a sense of urgency. I would even say it's like, I've done this before too. You're in Las Vegas. You've just won $450,000. You're going to push it all back across the table to make $451,500. You would never do that. Why would you do that here? Right? So put it in perspective. Stop. They only look at what they're losing. They're not looking at what they're gaining sometimes. It's your job to get them back to reality sometimes. So create a sense of urgency when necessary. Even in my slide projection, it says when necessary. Okay, only because if you do it too early, you sound like a slimy salesperson. Okay, leverage technology and tools. Okay, it's number 5 on my list. That means keep your CRM up to date. Keep your CRM up to date, guys. I mean, it's amazing to me how few agents do that, especially here. It's free. Okay, well, it's part of your split. It's not free technically. It's part of your split, meaning it doesn't cost you any additional money other than your split. Market like a pro. Use all the digital tools we have. You use all the digital tools we have, the VAC, BHHS Connect. You guys look like rock stars. Okay, and then I would definitely use, the mobile app, the new mobile app that we have out. Definitely use that. Just use all the tools that we have, folks. Look smart, look good, look intelligent. Remember, they use you because they believe you know more than them. If they don't believe you know more, they don't use you. It's not complicated. All right? Here we go. There's leverage. Once again, guys, if you have a question, hit *6. I can hear you. *6 unmutes you, and I can hear you. All right, number 6 on my list, establish trust and build relationships. And the number 1 point on that one is do what you say you're going to do. I would even say always do what you say you're going to do. Otherwise, don't say it. Remember, you have a fiduciary responsibility, and I have to remind people of that all the time, which means Their needs come before yours. When you're thinking of your car payment and you're thinking of you can't be helping them properly. Once again, there's another reason why I'm always going to make my contact goal every day. I am not going to be a hostage to this business. I've been a hostage a few times early in my career. I will never be a hostage again. Hostage means I'm working with people, they're less motivated, they end up not buying, they end up sucking up all my time, I didn't prospect, I didn't fill my pipeline. So now, not only did I not have a sale or a closing with one or two of my clients, I've also not filled my pipeline. So now I intuitively know I am really upside down right now. That is the worst feeling ever in real estate. But you have total control over never letting that happen again from here forward. So if you're in that situation right now, it's okay. Just make a promise to yourself, never to be a hostage again. Don't be a hostage. It's totally up to you. Well, but these people, I thought they really, one client should never change your schedule, ever. Your schedule is what statistically gets you there. Makes you, gives you more surety, gives you more confidence, makes you can, so you can pay your bills and save money and do all the things you want to be doing. Your schedule is by far the most important thing, not one client. Okay, so establish trust, build relationships, always do what you say you're going to do, or don't say it, please. Agents get a bad rep, and a lot of times it's not because of the clients, it's because of us. Okay, be proactive and solution-oriented. That's kind of self-explanatory, right? Always be doing something proactive. Always look at the solution, not the problem. How do you solve a problem? By being solution-oriented. Find a solution. Get it done. Okay? So, and then I would say the last one on my list here is marketing and advertising. As part of your presentation, look, what I would do today for a listing presentation is very simple. I would go in, I would confirm motivation. So now, I've talked to you 6, 7, 8, 10 times. I've dropped off a pre-listing package to your house, right? We have tremendous marketing material in the VAC for that. I go out and I see you. I confirm your motivation. Now, you don't have to say it like this, you're definitely moving, right? You can say, well, you're definitely downsizing, right? You're definitely moving into that neighborhood, right? You're definitely moving to Walla Walla, Washington. Whatever their motivation, you definitely need that extra bedroom, right? You're having a baby, right? Confirm the motivation. I think it sets up the presentation better. Then I would get into, now, you guys have a tremendous opportunity. Like I said earlier, we can have everybody on the market help you sell your home. And then I would explain that again, like I just did before. All right, we can use all the other people out there based on price and features and benefits and backyard, front yard, square footage, garage, pool, all of that versus the price. And I would go into that. Or you can go on the market, be one of the masses, and sell in 70 to 90 days. Which sounds better to you? Let them make the call. At least you set it up. All right, and then my third question would be, would you guys like me to handle it for you? Sometimes they say yes right away. Some of you have heard me say this. If you haven't, I'm going to say it again. Why sell with blah, blah, blah when you can sell with blah? A lot of times we can say less and be hired. All right, so regardless of what they say there, though, I'm going into the CMA next. That's my next thing. So set up motivation, offer them that wonderful marketing plan solution I just gave you, and then close. Not that complicated. Well, that's kind of early. Not when I talked to you 72 times on the phone and followed up with you. And, most of the people that you're working with, especially if you have a consistent pipeline of prospecting, this is not the first time you've talked to them. Okay? Then I'm going to go into the CMA. I never tell them the CMA. I involve them. They have a copy of the CMA. I ask them questions. We go through the actives first, because those to me are the most important, because that's your active competition. The second one are comps, which really justifies value, right? And then any expires I might throw in there if I think they're somewhat delusional on price. Right? If everything goes well there, I close again. Boom. I'm going to say it's about a third of the time they say yes up front. About another third of the time, they say yes after the CMA. And then only about a third of the people, you have to go into everything, which means go into the VAC, whether you have it printed out and you're going to present it, the marketing presentation in the VAC. Every one of you should learn that. And then that's it. There's my presentation. It's not complicated. Very simple, confident, organized. It's in the top of my head too. People go, well, how do you, because I've been doing, I didn't have the marketing we had. So most of my presentation was just the first two parts, right? With the marketing presentation, I mean, the stuff that we have from a global, the websites, everything that we have in the VAC, you should learn just how to present it. Look at Maria, watch Maria and Lorette, and there's all kinds of training videos in there. Right? The online syndication, the print media, creating buzz around your home, all that stuff is in there. Okay, read it, understand how to present it. That's all I'm saying. All you have to do is watch the training videos in there. Now people go, well, why can't you put that all together for us? Because let me tell you something. If you're willing, if you are somebody who's going to put together their presentation, you're going to spend the time to do this because you're going to do it in your own personality. I just gave you my personality. I ask 3 questions. I do the CMA. I show the marketing. I close at the end of each one of those too, because if I don't have to get into the marketing and you're going to sign, I'm okay with that. If I walk in, take a look at your house and say, you guys ready to hire me? And they say yes, boom. I still do the CMA though, because we got to do price. Okay, that's my presentation. That's my personality style. Okay. And like I said, comps and pricing. You want to make sure that you guys are on the same price, same wavelength there, because that's an important part of the whole. I mean, pricing is extremely important. Comps are only there to justify that. That is all. All right. So there you go. That's the closing lab in a nutshell of all the things that I would be concerned with in today's market. But I would definitely use. We have a tremendous opportunity in today's market to have everybody currently on the market that's been on the market help you sell your house. That's like the best marketing tool you could absolutely hope for today. And it's based on price and features and benefits. If I was selling my home today, that's the question I always ask myself. I've been doing this 40 years now, right? If I was selling my home today, what would I do? Exactly what I just explained. Everybody would be there to help me sell my home, and I'd probably get multiple offers. Because if you guys noticed, that first 30 days your home's on the market, that is by far the most important time. Now, you get above $1 million, then I would say the first 60 days. You get above $2 million, then I would say probably the first 90 to 120 days. So the time frames are slightly different based on pricing. All right, there you go, folks. All right, any questions for me? Hit *6 and I can hear you. Questions, comments, epiphanies, anything, hit *6, then we can hear you. If no one hits *6, then I only can assume that I've explained it so well that no questions are necessary. That's my delusion, and I'm going with it. All right, guys, keep it rocking. If you need me, call me anytime. You guys are the best. We'll do this again next week. Thank you.